If you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering why would there be a reason not to buy a condo? And what's a dark side that you may not be aware of? When everyone on social media seems to be upgrading, and every home tour is talking about how amazing condo living is, it can feel almost impossible to imagine how a condo may be a bad choice for some people. Now look, I'm a fan of condos, but I also need to say that a condo is not for everyone. As someone who has lived in a condo and also someone who has compared HDBs and condos in great detail, I'm here to share the truth that's rarely talked about in gatherings, on social media, and on home tour videos. These are 6 truths that you need to know before deciding to buy a condo. Some people may say that buying a condo can be a retirement plan. But that's true to some extent. That's not the full story and it's not that simple. And in this video, I'll be explaining why. From living space to risk appetite, we'll cover 6 reasons why a condo may not be a good fit for you. We'll also break down the cost of a resale condo. That will give you a better sense of how much you need to save as well as earn in order to afford one. And now let's start with one of the most powerful forces influencing buyers today: their friends, family, and social media. The first reason you should not buy a condo is if you feel pressured to do so. Many people buy because of social circles, social media, or even agents. There's a silent message out there that buying a condo is an upgrade. And if it's an upgrade, then it must be better, right? With everyone posting their renovations or new launch purchases online, it's easy to feel like you're missing out. But what social media does not show is the financial reality behind those choices. Nobody is posting about their monthly installments, their debt, or maybe even the stress that comes with the purchase. If you're buying because you're feeling left behind, then that's a terrible reason to commit to $1 million purchase. But even if you think that you're immune to the social pressure, the problem does not stop there. In fact, the next reason that we'll be talking about is usually one of the first things people complain about when they think about condo living. If you're new here, my name is Daryl, and in this channel we talk about real estate in Singapore. And I make videos which help you navigate your first home. If you're watching this video, then you're likely interested in investments or maybe even upgrading, and may enjoy my other videos where I cover the differences between stocks and real estate, why property is still the best way to build your wealth, and why new launch condos are getting so expensive nowadays. If you have any video ideas, drop them in the comment section below because I read all of them. And remember to like and subscribe if you want more such unbiased property videos. The second reason you should not buy a condo is if you don't like paying the maintenance fees every month. One of the first things that annoy many condo buyers is the monthly maintenance fees. The amount varies, but for a newish 2-bed condo in the heartlands, you can expect to be paying around $200 to $300 and $300 to $500 for a 3-bed condo. Some people value the facilities, the lifestyle, or the image that it projects, while some others may just see it as a necessary evil in order to own a private property. But then there is a next group of people who feel that the money could be better spent elsewhere. Perhaps on a holiday every few months, or maybe even dollar cost averaging into growth stocks or index funds that could help your retirement in the future. Stay to the end because we'll also be talking about how a condo can impact your retirement and what are the other options that you have. But if you belong to this third group of buyers and can't wrap your head around paying hundreds of dollars every month for something that you barely use, then condo living is likely something that will frustrate you. Because remember that the monthly maintenance fees is not a one-time cost, it's going to be a recurring thing. But while the maintenance fees may irritate you, it's nothing compared to what comes next. The moment that you look at the actual numbers when it comes to buying a condo in terms of the down payment and the monthly installment, that's a point that will help buyers realize whether they are truly ready for the commitment or not. The third reason you should not buy a condo is if you feel financially stretched beyond your point of comfort. As we already know, condos in Singapore are not cheap, and buying one should not require you squeezing every dollar you have just to make it work. If you are barely coping today, then buying a condo may not be the best thing to do, because property ownership should not feel like a constant burden. A condo is a long-term commitment and it's not something that you can easily downgrade if things go wrong. Therefore, in order to understand why not everybody should buy a condo, we first need to understand how much a condo can cost. For a 3-bedroom condo in the heartlands of modest age, you're looking at a minimum of $1.6 million. A 2-bedroom can be slightly cheaper, around $1.2 million, and these are not even near the MRT station. As always, when planning your finances, I advocate splitting it between the down payment and the monthly installments. For the upfront costs, you need a minimum down payment of $400,000, of which 80k must come from cash. Add the buyer stamp duty, which can be up to 50k, and that's 50k straight to IRAS. That brings your total upfront cost to around 450k, not including renovation or legal or any other miscellaneous fees. Then for the monthly installment, assuming the maximum loan and maximum tenure, you're looking at roughly 4.3k per month. If you're older than 35, your loan tenure may be reduced and your installment may be even higher. In order to clear MAS regulations such as the TDSR for the maximum loan, your combined income needs to be approximately 10k per month. So ask yourself, for the down payment after paying at least 450k, will you feel financially stretched with no savings left? For the monthly installment, the bank won't loan you the full amount unless you earn around 10k. And assuming you earn 10k, that leaves around 5 to 6k of surplus after your monthly installment. But the question is, does this feel tight for you? Do you have any other expenses such as kids, parents, car loans, a helper, frequent traveling? Does the thought of a 4k monthly installment feel suffocating to you? Especially when the installment of a HDB can be much cheaper, of around 1 to 2k per month. It's true that sometimes you need to take a risk and push yourself out of your comfort zone. But you should also balance this with your personal risk appetite, income, and lifestyle. If you want to understand more about how to plan out this balance, then drop me a message for a chat. But even if your finances check out, there's another factor that buyers often overlook. Now, paying for a condo, as much as it may be, is one thing by itself. Living in a condo is a completely different thing. And the moment you step inside one, the first thing that you notice is how much space you're giving up compared to how much you need to pay. The fourth reason you should not buy a condo is if you value space a lot. A typical 4-room HDB flat offers a lot more space compared to what a condo will offer, and for a much lower price. As we saw earlier, a $1.6 million condo only gets you a 3-bedroom condo of around 1,000 square feet. That's 3 bedrooms and, mind you, small bedrooms. A 2-bedroom condo priced between $1 to $1.3 million today is only around 600 to 700 square feet. For the price of that 3-bedroom condo, you can get almost any 5-room HDB flat on the market, which would be around 1,200 square feet, or maybe even an executive apartment if you prefer. That gives you all the space you need for kids, multi-generational living, a stay-in helper, or your cats, dog, fish, whatever. Space is one thing, but it's not so controversial or divisive because everybody can agree that more space is always better. But the real twist comes next, because the next reason has nothing to do with square footage, bedroom sizes, and it is a belief that divides many Singaporeans. The fifth reason you should not buy a condo is if you don't believe in the future appreciation. A common belief that many Singaporeans have is that condos or property will always appreciate in the future. And historically speaking, generally this has been true. Property in Singapore has appreciated around 3% per year. And considering if you're taking a loan, your cash on cash return may be even higher than this 3%. But there are many caveats to this. Firstly, not everybody wants to see their main home as an investment. Secondly, past performance does not always guarantee future results. Furthermore, the appreciation that we talk about in condos depend very heavily on the project and unit that you choose, as well as the entry price. On top of that, when it comes to property in Singapore, we're now at an all-time high, and this peak makes many people believe that we are now in a bubble. And all this is even before we start talking about the 99-year lease and the problem of the Bala curve. My view is that the right condo still remains a good long-term investment in Singapore, as I discussed in an earlier video. But I also admit that not everybody sees things the same way that I do. If you lean towards thinking of real estate in Singapore not as an investment but just as a place to stay, you may wish to keep your exposure small and consider a HDB while deploying your cash elsewhere. Even if you do believe in the long-term growth, many younger Singaporeans have started thinking about money differently. It's no longer just about owning assets, but it's now about buying time and freedom. And I'll need to admit that those are things that a condo cannot give you. And that's why the next point that we'll be talking about highlights exactly why a condo may be pushing you further away from that goal. The sixth reason you should not buy a condo is if you plan to retire in the near future, say 3 to 5 years. Of all the reasons, this is the most counterintuitive one, so let me explain. Many people underestimate how much cash flow matters when income becomes less predictable or stops entirely. Even if the asset you own is appreciating in value, you may actually not benefit from it unless you're able to sell it. In Singapore, the financial independence and retire early or FIRE movement has become very popular, especially among the younger generation who want to retire before 60 while still having the energy to focus on the things that matter to them. Remember the $1.6 million condo that we discussed earlier? Buying that could lock up 400 to 500k of your savings in your home. And that sum of money won't be available for your daily expenses or to invest in cash-generating assets like perhaps dividend stocks. Furthermore, you then become very illiquid and inflexible because you're not able to access that sum of money without selling off your primary residence. Yes, it is true that you can work with the bank to refinance and extract some equity, but that comes with a monthly installment, and that's also contingent on you having an income to pass the checks. But all that locked up cash, that's just the start of the problem. You also need to remember that for the next 25 to 30 years, you'll be paying the bank 4.3k a month just to stay in the house. And that's how many people can end up asset rich but cash poor and end up being stressed every month. Retirement indeed is about freedom, and tying yourself to a large mortgage can delay that freedom for many years. But yes, real estate can generate rental income and can also potentially appreciate in value. But this rental income is only beneficial if you have another place to stay, as well as able to stomach the potential negative cash flow of owning a rental property, or if you can sell the place and cash out. Then there's also the element that we need to factor, that we need to treat real estate like a long-term investment. If you want to sell and profit after factoring in things like the renovation, interest, taxes, then you likely need to have the mindset that you need to hold it for at least 5 years and that the appreciation of the profits may not be guaranteed. So then that comes back to the point where if you plan to retire within the next few years, then the prudent choice may not be to put all your eggs into a new basket of a condo purchase. But then the next question that you may have is then where can you put your money? If buying a condo can trap your cash and delay your freedom, then what should you do instead? This is where most people get stuck, and the next part may surprise you, because there are other ways that you can build your wealth that aligns closer to the younger generation's values of flexibility and lifestyle today. Buying a condo is not a bad decision. For the right buyer, it can be a smart long-term move. Private property, like a condo, still has a place in a well-rounded portfolio, but it is not for everyone. For instance, if your goal is financial freedom and you want to generate cash flow, Singapore stocks are known to provide steady income through dividends, though they may not help you to reach your retirement due to the relatively lower returns. And that's where growth stocks or indexes like the S&P 500 or QQQ comes in, offering a diversified exposure to the top US companies with compounded returns of 8 to 12% per year. And the best part of this is that they provide a form of liquidity which then becomes a form of freedom that a condo cannot provide. You can check out some of my other videos which I break down these two different asset types in more detail. And as always, none of this is financial advice because you should not be taking advice from a YouTube channel. So remember to do your own due diligence. If you found this video helpful, then you may enjoy my next video that explains why upgrading to a condo may actually be riskier in today's market. And like always, remember to like and subscribe if you want more such unbiased property videos.